welcome to another episode of the RoadMap podcast. Today we've got a special guest down from Atlanta in town for a lock-in here. We've got Colby Landman. How's it going today, bro?
Doing good, bro. I'm excited to be here.
100%, man. We've had an awesome long relationship, it feels like, in this business. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to dive into it a little bit. You've shared your story on other podcasts, so people can look that up if they want to know a little bit more about you in that way. You know, your background, struggles you've overcame, stuff like that. So I want to dive more into what have we learned in the business, right? Because you've been here coming up on 2 years. We're knocking on the 2-year door, and that's a long time in this business.
It is, yeah.
So let's kind of dive into that. We'll kind of dissect it into different chunks. So let's start off with, the first 60 to 90 days, right? That's a rough time for most people here. And I remember you coming in very excited,
Right.
and you had a tough time licensing in the state and all these delays and all kinds of stuff, but yet you were still excited getting going. So it wasn't lack of enthusiasm for sure. But do you remember roughly what you did your first, because you started in the fall of 21, do you remember roughly what you did, how many families you helped in the first couple months?
Yeah, like it's pretty slow out of the gate. The first couple months was like 15 per month or so.
Okay. Yeah. So decent, but not probably where you wanted to be
Right.
at the time, given how long you had been, watching and excited to join. So what do you think were some of the things that held you back from doing what you wanted to do in those first couple months?
In the first couple months, I definitely, had the excitement coming in. But I think the biggest factors that was holding me back is I was assuming it was going to be easy.
Oh,
To be honest, like I came from, the blue collar field. So hard work to me was like putting in labor,
yeah.
And in those first couple months, like my first week went great. I was able to help 3 families my first week. And then that next week I went back to work, and that was when I told him I was going to leave. And so like I did good that first week, had a week off, and then came back. And I was assuming it was going to be easy, like it was the first time. Got beat up a bit, buying leads and stuff. And I was in the field too. So for me, it was just being more efficient with my time, like getting better with my time. But I was holding myself back by assuming it was easy, and by using my downtime as like time off for me.
Got it.
Like scrolling.
Sure. So you probably felt like you were working all day.
Yeah.
But if we had you on the clock, probably less than 8 hours, it sounds like.
100%, yeah.
Huh. Okay. So you thought it was easy, and you thought you were working hard just because you were there.
Yes.
Super common mistakes. I definitely made those. I think a lot of people make those as well. So let's speak to each of them individually. So let's say it's a newer agent or someone thinking about coming on, or maybe they're really, really new. What should they expect this to be, difficulty-wise?
You can definitely know that it's simple, which is awesome. But difficulty-wise, you are going to have to put in like the hours of developing how to talk to people correctly. And especially in the beginning, it's going to take more hours than at any other job that you're at. Even in your downtime, it needs to be training on how you're going to be learning those words, like what word tricks I need to learn. So you have to be watching podcasts and stuff instead of like, I got no-showed, I get an extra 45 minutes to check my phone.
Yeah.
Or, I can go grab an extra meal. For some reason, I was deciding to eat a lot more in the field,
Fair enough. You got to kill time with something.
Exactly. So I was just, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. So simple, not easy.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like that's a definition that so many people get conflated. They assume they mean the same thing, but it couldn't be further from the truth.
Right.
Right? Because I think easy indicates that you're not going to have to put much effort into it.
Right.
Whereas simple just explains that, hey, you don't need a college degree, a master's. It's not rocket science. It's just work.
Right.
It's not the type of work that a lot of people are used to, like you said you were.
Exactly.
Right? You were used to that hard manual labor type work where you go home physically exhausted. But with this, there's really not a lot of physicality to it at all. Like
Right.
we encourage agents, hey, get up, walk around, work out. Like you have to seek out physical labor to make sure you don't hurt your body.
Right.
Just 'cause we're sitting around making calls all the time.
Right.
And so the simplicity is in, hey, you're just calling people and helping them with something that they need. but still a lot of hard work.
Exactly.
So understanding exactly what that looks like and being willing to admit that maybe you're not as hard of a worker as you would have liked to think you were. I know that was my story for sure.
Yeah.
So simple, not easy. And then making sure that you're investing your downtime and any spare time you can find into self-development and improvement
Exactly.
instead of just extra meals or scrolling on the gram.
Exactly.
That's fair. I feel like that sounds so simple, but when it comes down to doing it, like
It's
most
tough.
things, you
Yeah.
know, it's tough, right? Like
Yeah.
the gym is simple, but
Yeah.
really kind of sucks going to the gym consistently all the time, right?
Right.
But you found yourself in that trap, and that's a deadly combination, would you say?
It is. Yeah. And it almost, it was almost really deadly. I did like after those first few months, luckily coming into January, right before convention, I had my first 10 families helped in a week. And that was huge for me.
Yeah. So what did you change to get to that?
Building to that point, I just cut out my downtime. So while I was going to bed, I was watching podcasts. Like I was falling asleep watching podcasts. And I was doing this before I got here when I was getting my license through that licensing process. But when I got here and it was like, yo, you're in the game, it's time to go to work. For me, it was like, I've already watched hours and hours and hours and countless hours of training. Like I was listening to podcasts while I was at work all day, you know? So like, for me, I was just itching to get in the field. I had listened to all these trainings. I did everything I needed to do. And now I'm like in the game and I was, dropping the ball and I realized that. So then in January, I was like, okay, I'm cutting out all that downtime. I'm going to put in like I think I said it one time, it was like 2-minute manager or something.
Yeah.
But basically, like, I would catch myself in the habit of pulling out my phone. And then I would look at the time and realize, oh, it's been like 2 minutes and like, you haven't done anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yep, go to work. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's powerful.
yeah. So over time, it forced me every time I would pick out my phone, what are you doing? Go to work. You know, like it just became natural. So then I was able to have that first, 10 families helped in a week. And
that's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, really helped that belief. So it almost sounds like to me, what you did was my wife and I just ordered a grill the other day and it came in. It was one of those Traegers. So like it's mostly assembled, but there was some assembly required, right? And it had a QR code. You scan it, takes you to the video of how to put it together. So it almost sounds like you watched that video a bunch of times before the grill ever came.
Right.
And you assumed that when the grill came, oh, I've seen this. I know how to do it.
Yeah.
You start putting it together and it's not working out like you wanted it to. And you're like, oh, why isn't this? Well, because you're not putting them together.
100%.
And I feel like that's super important because what we do is simple if you're using the guide that comes with it.
100%.
But you can't assume that you know the guide. You have to refresh the guide
Constantly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So that's super powerful though. So you had the confidence. You went to convention. Obviously, that always lights a fire.
Right.
Coming out of convention, what were some goals that you would set for that year? So we're thinking 2022 now. What were some goals that you would set for that year? Where did you finish the year? Did they match up? Did you hit them? What did that look like for you?
Hall of Fame was the goal. I started off the year slow, though, so I was a bit behind when I got to convention.
Sure.
But I definitely had the belief that I had enough time to do it. And honestly, I felt like I was working hard enough. Well, in my mind, I was working hard enough to hit it.
Okay.
I was running in the field.
Okay.
In one state only. So I was getting every lead I could in one state, and running in those areas. I feel like what held me back from hitting, so I didn't hit my Hall of Fame goal in
Sure.
in year 2022. But I feel what held me back from hitting that goal was using. So I'm the type of person that's like, keep running into the door until it opens.
Okay. No matter how thick that thing is, no matter how bad it's locked,
So
we're gonna break through this thing eventually.
Eventually, yeah. No matter, yeah, over and over and over. And I didn't drop my pride, and I was assuming like I know what people are gonna tell me when I call them. I know that I'm not supposed to let them think about it. I know I'm supposed to tell them apply for a decline. I forgot to tell them, so I know that's exactly what they're going to tell me, and that's what I would kind of tell myself or trick myself.
Sure.
And then when I would call you guys, reach out, you would give me a different perspective. It would change my mind. Like, you would show me the direction, and it definitely helped throughout the year. I ended up helping close to 300 families.
Yeah. So solid year.
Yeah. So solid year. Yeah. Great year, but didn't accomplish my goals because I didn't drop the pride early enough. Reach out every time I got told no. And I had a couple weeks where I had 30 appointments, didn't make a sale, and didn't really reach out.
Thanks.
And those are the type of mistakes I made that prevented me from hitting my goals.
Makes sense. Okay, so 2022, we had a decent year, but we fell short of our ultimate goal by a good 25-30%. Looked back, said, hey, pride's getting in the way a little bit. Stubbornness is getting in the way a little bit. I'm not harder than this locked door.
Right.
And so learned those lessons. And then what did that look like, the transition into this year, now 2023? What did that look like as far as your goal-setting decision? Did you adjust your goal? Did you change the goal? And how are we looking so far here coming into September?
Yeah, so honestly, I'm farther behind on my goal because I had a huge goal for this year.
Okay.
I was going to shoot for a 600.
Okay.
And I didn't have the lead flow to do that.
Okay.
Honestly. And now that I have more states, since I just renewed my license and I'm able to get more states, adjusting the lead flow is huge. And I wasn't treating it like a business. So I'm not on track to hit my goals this year.
Okay.
But I know what it is. And it's the fact that I try to cut the corners of not tracking my numbers, of not, fully investing my time into truly knowing everything about my business. And to me, like, if I'm booking appointments and I'm making a sale, or to the old me, if I'm booking appointments and making a sale, then, and like sitting with them, then I'm working.
Got it.
But this business, it's a full circle.
Yeah.
And if you're not tracking your numbers, if you're not keeping up with everything, then, it comes back around to you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's hard to make any progress because you're just on a hamster wheel.
Exactly.
You don't know what's going on, so you don't know what to fix.
Exactly.
Huh. No, that's interesting. I feel like it's kind of like Shark Tank, where they ask the entrepreneurs all these different numbers, and the entrepreneurs that don't know their numbers, they never get the deals. They always kind of get laughed out of the room, because it's like, hey, like, you're coming in here asking for money to help grow and scale your business. You didn't even know your business.
Exactly.
So that's fair. So we learned the lessons from last year,
Yes.
but now we're discovering some more lessons to learn.
100%.
So making sure that whatever our goal is, we have the lead flow to accomplish it.
Right.
And that's so important because any business out there, if they set goals, they have to have the exact numbers, marketing, and plan to hit it.
Exactly.
My previous job as an account manager, we would go into every month with a specific goal for that month. But it wasn't just a number goal. We would have to back it up with what accounts are you closing to get that goal. And I feel like that's leads in our business.
Right.
You can't just say, 200 families, 400 families, 600 families, 1,000,000 families. You can't just throw out numbers without having, okay, what accounts are closing kind of a thing. What leads are you working? Do you have the proper flow of clients to talk to make sure you're going to hit that?
Exactly.
So that's a huge deal. And then it also sounds like, a big mistake that you've made, that I've made, that so many others have made, of not treating this like a business, has come around to bite you there and trip you up a little bit. Why do you think so many people don't treat this like a business? They hear it over and over and over again. Why do people not treat this like a business, do you think?
I think that overcoming the ability to just make a sale in the first place is the main thing on a lot of people's minds. So when they make that sale, or, it's like on to the next one.
Got it. It's like the ultimate accomplishment.
Yeah. So you're kind of done at that point. You feel
Got it.
done. You feel like you're accomplished.
Got it.
But it isn't over. And what I realized too, like with the CBO policies, if you do the math, like I do the math for all my clients for the CBO policies to let them know how much they're going to get back at the end. When you do the math and you realize, like, I just sold $100,000 product or a $50,000 product.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm just going to talk to these people for an hour and it's going to be there for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's not necessarily the case. Like, I mean, obviously you can make a sale and it'll be there because, clients will do that. But when you have your clients' names, numbers, everything about the policy, when they call you and you know exactly what you're doing, who they wrote the policy for, who the beneficiary is, why they set the policy up, when you know those details, it gives you the confidence and the ability to control your business, control the aspects in your business, prevents chargebacks, and just gives you the confidence in knowing that I'm an actual business owner. And diverting yourself or hiding, trying to take the shortcut from tracking those numbers,
Yeah.
it keeps you on the hamster wheel.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I feel like so many people come in, and at the beginning, most people struggle to close at a decent rate, right? And so if and when they get to that point, they're so focused on that, they don't graduate to other levels. Like, that's just the first step.
Yeah.
The first step is figure out how to help families close deals, right? But then from there, we have to manage the business.
Yep.
We have to organize the book of business because that's your clients. That's your business. We have to manage the money coming in, the money going out. Because so many of us, we haven't ran businesses before. We didn't have money going out. We just had money coming in.
Right.
And then here we try to treat it like that, but it's not that. And so we're tempted to just focus on the sale. But what happens to me, and it sounds like what happened to you, is you'll make a lot of money. You also spend a lot of money.
Yep.
And you won't keep a lot of money.
Yep.
And that's such a shame.
Yep.
Because we have the potential to make so much money in this business by helping people. But if you don't manage it, and by manage it, I mean have someone that actually knows what they're doing manage it for you,
Yep.
then you're up a creek without a paddle, 100%. Wondering why you can't steer the boat. It's like, well, it's a business. So that's powerful, man. So appreciate you sharing and being open about that, because that's not easy, obviously. So started off the year, goal is 600, not on pace for that. Where are we at for the year? Where do we want to finish for the year at this point?
I'm right at 200 for the year.
Okay.
But
we got 4 months left, 4 solid months left. So you got a little over a quarter.
Yep. And the goal for the last 4 months is 160.
Okay.
40 a month.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That'd be a huge improvement. That'd be 25% improvement over last year, which would be huge. Start managing your money and your business so you can keep even more of that too. Be an awesome way to end the year for sure. Love it, man. I know you're working with some new agents, looking for more new agents. Right. So can you give, I know we talked about a lot, but can you give is there any one piece of advice that you would want to boil down to, for the Colby Landman fall of 2021? You're excited, you're getting started, you don't know which end is up, you don't know what's going on, but we're excited. Right. What would you tell that Colby?
One of the biggest factors and one of the biggest upsides about Family First Life is the people you're around and the network that you meet. The ability to just stay here is going to make you grow. So just come in with the mindset of, I'm going to stay here. Like, this is where I'm at. I'm going to build a business one day that's going to be big enough to retire my family.
Sure.
And if you come in with the mindset that no matter what, I'm going to be here, then you'll be willing to do things like spend your mortgage payment on your leads. And, push yourself to a distance to where you wouldn't necessarily go if you didn't have the people around you to give you that confirmation and knowing that they've done it.
Yeah.
They've built a huge business.
Yeah.
They're making tons of money. They're real business owners.
100%. And I would say, to be fair, you shouldn't have to spend your mortgage on leads.
Right. 100%. 100%.
Sounds like that's the kind of thing that happens when you don't run
your
it like
first
a
3
business.
months. Yeah.
You don't manage the money, so we don't recommend that.
Right.
But the confidence that you get from people that have been there and have done that, and the relationships you form absolutely kind of make you feel like you can run through that brick wall.
Exactly. Yeah, it
so
wasn't
to
a question.
speak. And
When it came up to me and that was an issue, and I was debating, like, is it worth taking a late charge of $50 or worth putting in 1,500 for leads and maybe making $4,000, $5,000?
yeah, makes sense.
So like, I'll take the late charge.
Yeah,
You know?
that math adds up for sure. I love that. So it almost sounds like also you're just telling everyone to kind of be like Rocky, like hang in there,
Yeah.
hang
yeah.
in there sometimes.
And just bet on yourself.
Yeah, no, that's powerful because we've seen a lot of agents that everyone goes through tough times.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people quit during one or tough time or another.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just hang in there, get around the right people, it's gonna click eventually.
Yep.
Hopefully sooner than later. the more you plug in.
And after 9 months, it gets a lot easier.
It is true because you get a nice raise with back-end commissions after 9 months, and it absolutely does. Those first 9 months are brutal.
Yep.
First 90 days are the worst.
Yep.
Then you get to that 9-month period, and then from there it's not necessarily smooth sailing.
No.
But at least you have the equipment and the cash flow to be able to handle some tough seas.
100%.
That's awesome, man. Appreciate you coming. It's always awesome hanging out with you. Looking forward to the next couple of days of getting to hang out and grow together. And let's go help 360 families this year.
100%. Thank you.
Absolutely, bro. That's a wrap.
Love it.